So, Forgotten Ways to Be a Man. Hello, Wisconsin. Maybe the U.S., possibly the world. Uh, Maybe it's number 3. Sorry, I'm at an angle. I don't know how to. My phone's sitting a little bit better. I don't know. Maybe the opposite way now. Stories of things that are not necessarily lost, but are being lost. Um, Last one I did was like my talking about how my sister hit me with the car, and so my sister hit me with the car twice and got me to hit myself with the car. That's just funny. She was driving away and I was chasing after her, and it was in Camp Douglas. She went over the railroad tracks. This was in the, I know it was in the station wagon. Went over the railroad tracks. I'm hauling ass. Like, I am hauling ass. I'm not that far behind her, and she just slams on the brakes, and I just whack. I just run into the back of the. I mean, like, I was only a couple of feet away, so like I didn't even have time to stop. Uh, um, Another one. First time I was out deer hunting. Uh, we were up on the bluff. My dad and I. Doe walks in with an old fawn. My dad's like, "Go ahead, take her." We thought the fawn was old enough. Late late gun season, so fawn should be old enough to survive at that point. Uh, at least here in Wisconsin, we're talking end of November. Takes the doe down. Boom! One shot. Drops. Doesn't even fucking move. Fawn keeps walking around her and won't leave. My dad even stands up and yells, and the fawn won't leave. And my dad goes, "I hate to do this, but it's either coyote meat or she goes in our freezer. Your choice." I get it. I Now that I'm older, the things that your dads tell you, it would have either been coyote meat or in our freezer. I get that. I do. Um, if you're not a hunter, you don't understand that stuff. I mean, a lioness might, but I didn't want to take a Bambi because that was one thing that my dad told me never to do was take a Bambi, but I understood what he was saying at that point. Um, I took 3 shots. Now, remember, this is my first deer. First one I took down with 1 shot. I took 3 shots that emptied out my gun at that point. I was shooting Savage Odd 6. Custom built. I love that gun. I love that gun. Dad, I love that gun, and I know my dad will never get rid of that gun, but uh, he did let my one ex shoot it one time, which she blew the ass end off of a God damn it. Anyways, that's another story for another time. Uh, so I took 3 shots, and the Bambi finally laid down, and I'm like, Dad, I've taken 3 shots at the deer. It ain't. I missed it. You 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 shoot it. Just put it. You got to remember, it's down in the valley here. Like, and it's not run off now after being yelled at 3 shots and my dad took a shot, put her down. Get down there. Go get the deer, right? By the way, nobody wants to take a Bambi. Um, it was just that it should have been old enough, but if it wouldn't leave mom, it was it was gonna be coyote meat. So it's either throw it in our freezer or let it be ripped apart by an animal by starving to death or whatever. So it was more humane to do it this way. Um, get down there now. Remember, I shot the doe. At 6 holds 4 shots, 3 in the clip, 1 in the chamber. Took the doe down with the first shot. Shot 3 times at the Bambi. This is the first time out deer hunting, and some of you might, most of you will probably find this semi bad. I didn't like it myself. But anybody that's ever been out deer hunting will understand your first time out deer hunting, and that it's not buck fever at that point because it's a doe, but first time out hunting, you're just. I never missed that little Bambi. That's why it laid down. Stories that that most people will never put out there. I shot 3 legs off of the damn thing. I'm glad I told my dad to take the shot when I was empty, because at that point, yeah. That point, it definitely was suffering. I'm not proud of it. Never done it again. I've had my ex do that twice though. So I'm a felon, and my dad brought my hunting rifle up once for her to shoot during gun season. Blew the ass off of a fucking deer. Gun was sighted in. You sight a gun in at 100 yards, if it's on point. Her dad sighted it in for her. my dad sighted it in. They were both shooting. She blew the ass end off of a fucking deer. Poor damn thing. I tried to track it because I was still bull hunting at the time. That season, I was still bull hunting, and she called me and told me, and I tried tracking it, but I only got so far. Um, we got down in the swamp, and I couldn't smell it no more. Uh, and that it was still not frozen. So we waited overnight, and sure enough, we walked out there the next morning, and there was a deer. It laid down, it froze to death. Poor thing. And then another time, the initial shot was my fault. I was bull hunting. I went take this deer, and damn, I don't know how, but there was a branch in my way because I cleared all my lanes. But when I took the shot, um, my arrow, I used Freak Nasties um, by Dead Ringer. It must have clipped a branch or something, and it well, it didn't just clip it, it cut the branch right the straight the fuck off, and it gut shot the deer. Um, so we were tracking it because I wasn't, this was early season, and I wasn't gonna let this deer, I mean, it was pitch black out. We're out there with headlamps and stuff tracking the deer. I'm not gonna let this deer suffer. Um, she had knighted blocks, and I was tracking the deer literally by scent again. Um, if you gut shot a deer, I don't know if anybody else knows this, but you can smell it. It was a damp, wet night out, but you can smell it, and if you pick it up, you can really smell that there's a foul gut smell to it. And I knew I gut shot her because she hunched. Um, and we see her, and she's laying down up on this hump because we walk, because I'm up on this ridge line, and we walk down and around and follow her down, and my ex is like, I really want to take the shot. I'm like, okay, well, go take the shot then. Takes a shot. Now, some of you might find this funny, some of you might find this really fucking bad. She takes a shot, she hits the deer. But you gotta remember the head's facing away from us. And she's using, not the Freak Nasty, but the Dead Ringer, the 3-inch splitter. Poor deer literally got a new asshole ripped into her. She shot her right up the fucking bunghole. I'm not joking. Right in the ass. I mean, like, literally in the ass. And the deer jumps up and runs off with a lighted pink knock bumping. Yeah, not my favorite story in the world. Finally find the deer. And when we come up onto her the next time, I take the shot and I put the deer down. I walk up and I slit her throat because That's the most humane thing you can do at that point in time. That deer's been through. When you go out to hunt, you don't want to. You want to make the death quick. You don't. I don't. When I go out to hunt, I sleep most of the time. Honestly, I like to see the wildlife and stuff. I'm not out there to kill. Um, yeah, I like putting meat in the freezer, but that's not why I'm out there. Um, yeah, I mean, there's other hunting tales that I can tell that same season. Um, uh, it was later season. It was post gun. I haven't been seeing a lot on my food plot where I've been sitting. So I switched to my second spot, which was down the ridge and over. Um, and took 3 deer in 45 minutes. So down the ridge, there was this old logging road that comes up, and I saw this old buck uh, tracking a doe. They came out on the road. The doe came out on the road, and then this buck came out on the road. And he was an old buck, and I could tell he was an old buck. You know, spindly rack, really black chest. Um, so I called him up, took him, called him up, shot him. He ran off that way. Um, and when you're bull hunting, if you shoot a deer and they run off, best thing is to let them run off and wait 15-20 minutes, let them bleed out, and make it quick for them. Don't keep the adrenaline going. So I'm up in my deer stand. Uh, the doe he was tracking came back through, shot her. She took off the opposite way. Uh, Neither of them made it far. They were clean shots. All of them were clean shots. Uh, and then, I'm sorry, I don't like talking about killing. I mean, I get it. It's part of what we have to do to survive, but I don't like talking about it. Um, Unless it's about my kid catching a whole lot of fish. Then I'm very proud. Um, then I had two more does walk in. After she ran off, I'm like, well, I'm going to sit here and let her bleed out, make it quick, you know. And I choose my broadheads very particularly because I don't like deer to suffer. That's why I use the Freak Nasty by Dead Ringer. Not to name call. That's what I will use for the rest of my life. Um, because they're a non-mechanical broadhead that shoots like um, a target point, and that's why I use them. And they're not mechanical, and if they don't open, they're still very deadly. Um, which I've never had one not open. Um, but that's why I'm particular to that specific brand and that specific broadhead. Um, Anyways, I had another one come in right below me, two of them, and I took a shot. I had the tags. So I took a shot. I spined her. Went right through her. That's the other thing that I like about the Freak Nasty is, man, they my first year I ever shot with a Freak Nasty, it went through his behind his shoulder, right out through his breast. Um, he ran maybe 20 feet down. And that's why I use them. They are the most humane broadhead. They are lethal, but that's why I use them, is because I don't. I mean, like, I don't know how many times I've seen a deer. I've gotten a deer that's got a broadhead stuck in their shoulder. That's a mechanical one that doesn't open, or uh, regular broadhead is stuck in their shoulder. I don't know if people are just bad shots or whatnot, but the Freak Nasties, they cut through anything. And anyways, for an example, I spined her and it went straight through her, and that's the first time I ever actually had that broadhead break, because it went into a chunk of black oak behind her, and the black oak is what caused the broadhead to break, not her spine. She went down immediately, rolled down the hill, and was sitting there. Any hunter knows what's going to happen when you spine a deer. So at that point, I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit my stand anymore. I'm not going to let that deer suffer. So I got up, went down, did the nasty. Now I've got 3 deer to fucking go get, and it's damn near dusk. And I'm on the south, or I'd be the west side of the hill. But on the east side is where we have where our camp is. That old buck busted off all of his tines as he rolled down the hill when he finally collapsed. I'm not talking it. It's a fucking hill. I mean, yeah, probably like that. It's a hill. And I got 3 deer to drag up over that motherfucker. Yeah, it was a long night. But it was a fast 45 fucking minutes. Let's see, what else? What are the things that happened in my life? Oh, I'll make this a short video and try to start another one.